Good afternoon, 1 o'clock on a hump day, Wednesday afternoon. And we're back previewing another local business in our community. I just redid my kitchen. Do you guys like it? No, not really my kitchen. I know it's a virtual background, but incredible stuff behind me here. We're going to speak today with Mr. Keith Levine. He's the owner there over at Schrapper's Fine Cabinetry. And they've been, they're local in Jupiter. Let me throw it right now out actually to Mr. Jeff Lichtenstein, owner at Ecofine Properties.
Good
and,
afternoon.
And there's Mr. Keith Levine. Hey, Keith, how you doing?
We're doing good. How about you guys?
Good. Can't complain. So, Jeff, do you like the way I did my kitchen here or what?
We were talking to Keith about it just a second ago. I said, Robbie, it's a nice kitchen. He said, not mine. And you said you did that kitchen for some 80-year-olds who with electronic it opens automatically and stuff. I said, I want that I'm 51. That'll work for me. That's a pretty cool kitchen. Tell us a little bit about it.
Well, that's just a good illustration of not just the materials that we're familiar with and how we utilize it, but everybody has, we're in a unique and wonderful business. So we'll touch base on that. But for this particular couple who you would never otherwise think would be that contemporary or that interested in electronics and such, it's a great design. It works well for them, and they've enjoyed it a great deal. It made for a very nice space for them to enjoy. So that's what we're all about.
Keith, where did the name Schrappers come from?
A great question. I've had Schrappers for right at 20 years. And before that, the company existed in Jupiter, more local, more refined, limited number of materials and things like that. But Schrappers Cabinet Shop was here in Jupiter, founded in 1982. So although we've changed the name a bit and certainly changed our offering, we just celebrated our 38th anniversary. So it's been great to be a part of the community and various charitable organizations that we get involved with and find people like your team.
So tell me a little bit about your background. I read you've done a lot of historic, renovations. Where did you give a little bit of background of yourself?
Well, we didn't get to Florida like many others soon enough. It's a wonderful, enjoyable place. It's certainly home now. We're Midwesterners, so we come from Missouri, but thoroughly are enamored and just love the Florida lifestyle and everything that's provided for all of us that live here. So I have a bit of an engineering background and high-tech manufacturing. And when I first came locally to the West Palm area, had a large retail outlet for cameras and photo processing, things of that nature. And when I wanted to get involved with construction, we ended up doing custom cabinetry. So it's been a great ride, a great learning process, and we've dealt with a lot of great people.
If you haven't been on their website, it's a terrific website. It's very easy to navigate, and they'll give ideas. You can click on kitchen, contemporary kitchen, transitional kitchen, traditional kitchen, and then also all through the line of different types of materials, from sisal stone to different types of granite and lighting and everything. It's just an easy layout. You're user-friendly. And you see that everything really is divided, where you've got experts, whether it's draftsmen or different designers who specialize in different things. Tell us how the company is laid out.
Well, that's a good point. We've got, we're not a big company. We're only 17 people and all have our individual tasks and so forth, but very specific as you related. So one of the things that we have utilized over the last number of years is a fair number of employees that are off-site on a regular basis, some by necessity and some by the fact that we've had good people that have decided to move away, and we've just kept them on board doing exactly what we're doing now. So for our large files and our drawings and such, some of that can be done off-site, and we exchange those files. So we have draftspeople that have an architectural background. We have draftspeople that are specifically oriented towards cabinetry and fine millwork and such. We do work on every level, meaning we take the most basic kitchens you would find here locally and the smallest residences, and then we do the crazy kind of outlandish work that's in very large homes that is seemingly never ending as to what the wants are, and put all the fun things in them. We kind of call those the crazy money projects. And we've got a good mix of all those, but the bulk, Jeff, of what we do is very much in the middle of that. We do mostly mid-level, mid-price product, and along with that, we do something unique. We warranty everything. All of the work we do is warranted for life. Doesn't matter what level it is, what price range it is. And again, that's just maybe part of that Midwest background, but also just being comfortable in the area and being associated with teams like the Echo team and such. It's worked well for clientele.
I'm from Chicago originally, and my grandfather was in the home furnishings textile business. And his attitude was, give the lady what she wants, which was an old Marshall Fields saying where you return it and no questions asked. And that worked for him. And that's, been, drilled down, for me from my grandfather to my father to myself. One of the things, is that you're an active listeners, and your designers are active listeners. And I know what that means. Can you explain? That?
Well, it's a big part of any business, but particularly ours. So we're involved with the more personal spaces in a home. So whether it's a kitchen and maybe a gal or a husband and wife that cook regularly, and they have their own paradigm or their own mindset of how they like to cook or how they like to prepare food. But it's also with all of our other products, whether it be entertainment areas or even closet systems and things of that nature, where I might be as a gentleman, but talking about where lingerie is stored and different things of that nature. And again, it's a very personal part of the home. So it's much more important as a design firm for us not to be worried about the product itself, but with design, it's more lifestyle driven, and certainly more an aspect of not just if they cook. The old adage in our business is this new kitchen project, is it for cooks or looks? And we get a good mix of both, and that's nice. But for people who truly enjoy being in the kitchen and enjoying sharing the family space around the kitchen, it makes a big difference. And that's how we design. So how much traffic is in the kitchen, and if there's ever help, or do both the husband and wife cook at the same time? How do we keep them happy and not throwing knives at each other, but yet cooking the way they like to prepare a meal, and so forth. So,
well, this is one time where even if you're a cook who is just a looker at the kitchen, my mother is definitely in that category. You're actually using the kitchen, so it's multi-purpose. How are you guys in this whole COVID time period? How are you conducting business when people want to meet with you and in your own shop?
That's a great question. Obviously, right now, a hot topic for everybody that you would speak to. Excuse me. I'm kind of curious as to what you guys and your team are doing too. But we've taken this very seriously. It's hard not to. And luckily, none of our employees and associates have had any difficulties, not even any family members. So that's a positive and a nice adjunct to all of this. But we've paid all the attention to the COVID protocols and so forth. We've gone through a great deal of extra steps here in the showroom. Although we did have to shut the showroom down at a certain point, there was just no sense for a few weeks there to conduct business from the showroom. We did random appointments at individual appointments, but we sanitize incessantly. We have dispensers at the front door for booties, dispensers for gloves, dispensers for masks, hand sanitizer around every corner. So we've been doing all of those more obvious things at this point. But beyond that, we've been steam cleaning the showroom each week from floor to ceiling, all the way down to steam cleaning the carpets and floors. Just trying to give comfort to our clientele and to our workers and staff that we're doing everything that we can. Where that translates even beyond that is, of course, we're in people's homes. So there was some communities that literally shut down, as you well know, for outside vendors and visitors and such. But we've had, you can imagine, if I have a client who's a single mom with 3 kids, and no running water in a kitchen, we really went all out to help, or some elderly folks who didn't have running water in a bathroom or a kitchen. We tried to get all the special exemptions that we could. Actually hired extra staff during this whole process just to jump to everybody's needs. Also, because we do some manufacturing locally, I wanted to be able to pick up anything in our manufacturing flow as to anybody that couldn't quite fulfill an order, et cetera. We have the capability to take care of that here. So it's been, for all of us, arduous and a long, that's not done yet, obviously, but we've had Zoom meetings just like this with clients as well that are more comfortable. We have a fair amount of clientele that's out of state. So it's, I hope, been comprehensive on our part and showed that we care. And we're waiting for things to open up. Jeff, how's that worked with your agents and your team?
It's actually been really active. We have, I think, 18 or so under contract in June, and you know, a number of rentals. So the market has been moving. A lot of it's from the Northeast, people who want to get out of the urban areas, whether it's New York City, you know, or Boston, or going into the Midwest. We have one from Ohio, Chicago. There's been extended rentals in the area where people were, you know, their rent was up in March or April, seasonal, and they've elected to 2-3 months, and in some cases just do a year rental, and in some cases they purchased. And the purchasing part is really picked up right now as we've been opening up. Some of that may be some pent up demand, but the rates are so good, and then we're getting a lot of, you know, it's just people moving within, and a lot of people, especially up north, are making, you know, life decisions. They're finding that they can Zoom. I'm going to put some pictures while we're talking on some of the work you've created, but they're finding that they can work in remotely, and it really doesn't matter so much where they are. So, you know, in life, you know, if you can do it when you're 35 or 45 or 55, you know, sometimes it's better that, you know, than coming down at 65 and doing that. And our tax system is so good that if whether it's New York or New Jersey or LA, there's that 8 to 13, you know, % differential. And that's a big deal. And then I think just the lifestyle, the density here, as you know, is so much less, and the cost of living is so much less than some of the northern cities, that's attracting a lot of it. So we've been really active, you know, in here, especially the last couple of weeks. And if we have something called showing time, where we can look, and our traffic, as of a couple of days ago, our showing requests overall for Florida is virtually the same as it was last year at this time.
What a great thing.
There's different things that we're doing. We've purchased some 3D virtual reality capital equipment, and we're doing that for every listing regardless of price point. And these will be walkthrough tours. So we're in the process of shooting all of our homes that we have right now, but that's an add-on that we're going to give. I think there's just going to be more people that are going to be searching that way, you know, whether it's from your own home locally here, or if you're in, you know, you're up in Philadelphia, you can really get a good feel from walking through the house, not just where you can go where you want to and bump into walls. So that's a piece. And we also think that there's going to be some technology, like with the in the VR world, or with like Oculus, which is owned by Facebook, where we think that that's going to take off. Some of that we had scheduled, we thought was more of a 3 to 5 year period, but that's going to happen now. We've changed and programmed our website so that you can search that way, either whether if you want to do a video tour, or that's true video, or you want to search for the 3D tours, you can do so. And then we've also done it so that the tours will pop up right away in the first screen with easy to use controls that we've done. So we've animated all of our brochures so that there's some movement, you know, from them. And then we're doing this. So this is a way from 12 to 1 every day. We've been doing 3 open houses, and we think that will stay afterwards too, because there's it's always great to go to an open house and see it physically and walk it. whether you're just going there to get the cookie or not, or to get some design ideas, or you're truly looking for the house. But you can now, we have this technology to do this and talk about a home and show it in a virtual way. So I think there's both will end up staying. So there's a lot of that that's going on. And then it's wearing masks when we're showing booties, letting people walk through in a lot of cases on their own and keeping social distance. I'm
happy right now to have this meeting going without the mask.
That's correct. That's exactly correct. So our industry is going through a lot of changes, and some of it are just, there's things that were going to happen 3 to 5 years from now, and we just jump into those right now and move fast towards it. And then we're doing a lot of these local businesses, because when people move to an area, they don't pick a house. And then sometimes people start, it's back to the active listening that you do in your business. It's active listening about what they're looking for. So somebody will type in something and they're looking at I want a 4-bedroom home with a pool. And I'll start asking questions. It's questions. I'll bring it back and I'll say, Keith, tell me a little bit about yourself. How do you guys envision living here? What are your hobbies? And then you're learning about the person, and you're really matching them with the community in the area first. And then you're picking out the house second. The house matters, the price point, matters, but a lot of it's, what type of community is the right fit. We've actually developed some programming on our website called Echo Match, which is a questionnaire, and it asks questions, and they can go through, and somebody can say, well, I want to be in an equestrian community. I want to be, which a hyper local, a Zillow can't do, or Realtor.com can't do, because it doesn't know the hyper local information. But we've programmed it, and we know it. We know in and out. So those are some things that kind of how we are, matching people, and probably mirror a lot of what you're doing with active listening. What do you see? I have a background, and I worked for a decade, and I grew up in the home furnishings fabric business. So we were a converter. Half our business was solid shears, antique satins, sailcloths, drapery linings, and then half of it was prints, which were either on jacquards or metallic overlays and on warp sateens. And for me, verbiage that doesn't mean anything to anybody else, but you know what I'm talking about. And then we had 10 board artists internally. And we would see style changes, go on all the time. The Lodge look was in the mid 90s. I'm dating myself with some of that. And then it shifted towards something else, or florals would go to contemporary. And then in 06, when the market shifted, saw that whole Mediterranean look that was in for a long time, where there was more intricate type of work, and it was a heavier feel that shifted to modern, contemporary, white in there. What do you see from, you see style changes that are going to happen because of COVID? We're already seeing more color that's taking place, but what is your feel for it?
No, I definitely think, even specific, as you mentioned, to COVID, I think, and we've been very busy as well. And I think part of that is just touching on that before the design is we're a larger, more established firm. We work on deposits in this industry as a whole. And I think it's a little easier for someone to be confident right now to give those deposits to a firm that's more established and writing contracts readily throughout all of this. And so I think that's been a big part of this last 8 weeks of activity. But I think there's more to this. When you mentioned, and Rob even said, any discussion like this has to have trends. We're in a design type item. COVID, where we previously in these last couple of years have been designing with less storage space in the kitchen, less refrigeration for many instances, just because people and their lifestyles, they're shopping more frequently. There's more options to shop, gourmet or otherwise, close to the home, buy fresh ingredients, things like that, where it's just not as important to have as large of food storage and things like that. And I actually wonder, as a relationship to COVID and what we've all gone through sitting incessantly in our houses with our families, is it might go the opposite way. I have a feeling that we might see people wanting more food storage and more refrigeration and more of things that are readily available. It's, you know, there was nothing, we're a spoiled society, so I think there wasn't anything more distressing to people than going to the grocery store and seeing empty shelves. So I think that's probably going to have a profound effect on even the way that we design. But
I know, like, I know in our instance, you know, we our 16-year-old and our 21-year-olds home from college, and, you know, we've eaten home, you know, we do some takeouts, but there's more cooking going on and more, you know, whether it's yellowtail or you know, a veggie burger or whatever, we're enjoying, you know, doing some of those things. And I think a lot of that's going to stay with us. So the look of the kitchen, where you're buying it for looks, whether that may be your intention or not, I think some of that's going to change, as you just said.
yeah, I think that's a great observation. It makes me think of a number of years ago, we won for the Builders Association, the Kitchen of the Year here in South Florida. And it was for a couple, a very nice couple who we've since become friendly with. But for all your listeners, her idea of a 3-course meal was a piece of chicken, the fork, and the plate. 3 items, 3-course meal. And we did this beautiful kitchen for them. And next thing you know, they flew off to Italy and took some cooking classes. And now she's a balabusta. She cooks all the time, and it changed their lifestyle. So I think what you mentioned, undoubtedly, families are going to see how they enjoyed the time together, and whether out of necessity or otherwise, and they learn some culinary techniques. I think the food shows on TV are the #1 shows right now. So you're probably right, and we'll have to see how that works out.
My favorite day, I think, was we got some potatoes, and my son took the potatoes and cut them up, and had us all come over, and then all of a sudden there was French fries. And they were hand cut that he, you know, put in oil, and and you would have thought it was like that scene, you know, with Tom Hanks when he discovers fire in, you know, in Castaway.
Yeah.
But it's interesting on how simple pleasures, you know, and you discover, you know, that type of thing, you know, in your home.
Oh, there's no doubt. Rob had asked when we spoke the other day just to send a few pictures to you and so forth, and the start of this whole question was trends. So beyond what we think might happen through all of this, contemporary has been a big push. It took forever to get to our area here in the northern part of the county. But as you've sold more of your listings and helped your clientele with more contemporary houses, let alone houses that have more contemporary interiors, or really the biggest thing we do is we take older, more Tuscan style homes, and we introduce the contemporary, or if they can't quite commit, the word is transitional, of these designs into play. The contemporary and the change in the door styles, the colors, the finishes have changed immensely. So we're doing a lot of high gloss work. I've got a couple pictures. I don't know whether you have.
Keith, can you see the pictures? I'm going to pop them up. They're there if you want to talk through them. Maybe we have a kitchen right here. Can you see those pictures?
Yep, that's here on the water in Tequesta. Another nice couple, and that have had their home for quite some time. That's very much what we're going to call the transitional look. We've got a white perimeter, conservative door style, nice accoutrements, and that particular picture isn't showing the island with as much detail, but some real heavy legs, and created a nice look in a bold color. And that's the big change. So our color of the year this year in the design industry as a whole is classic blue. And that's a specific color. Here's one that picked up on that theme. You see this bright blue island, and a little avant-garde on the back wall, floating shelves, more stark background, but still warm, and the kitchen looks comfortable. And that's,
you know, and when you use a lot of whites and off, it's easy to change it. Like, you know, for like us, we have some yellow bar stools in our kitchen, and it adds a lot of fun pops of color. If we want to get rid of it, we'll change it, and you can redecorate your whole kitchen with changing, like what you have the pears, you know, there, and different pieces you can decorate around it. But I'm seeing too a lot of with cabinetry, some color and having some fun.
There's no doubt. The picture that's up right now is an interesting photo just because it is a mix of everything. So this is on the water, very much a coastal theme, but you see the white perimeter in an inset type cabinet. It's very luxurious. The island has got a coastal feel with the closed louver doors and the turnings and such. The floor, which we actually made a hidden safe in, has a rustic wood. Wonderful finish on the island. And then in the background, you see a piece of rift cut oak where we've heavily distressed it and given a great deal of wear. And if you were to go to the next room, the countertops that we did are actually recycled glass. And we made all of that work in one space. And the glass kind of has an interplay from the ocean. It turned out quite nice. This is a more traditional offering with an updated feel. So it's still traditional.
I love the exhaust. Wow, that is cool.
Yep, those are hoods that we have made to our exact specification, can put any color of the rainbow on them. That's got a stainless banding on it, but a real nice finished look. This was from one of our talented designers, Lena, and she did a great job. That one I just finished, and that's actually in our one of our leading industry publications that came out a week or two ago. That's down in Boca, which again just shows that we're covering a pretty wide swath of the area, and a more contemporary feel to that one. That's Jeff. That's one of those neighborhoods where they're just tearing them down and building them right back up. This one here's in Old Palm, so locally, large spaces, nice private spot where they've got privacy in the back. A little bit more contemporary in this one too. We had fun with the little metal artwork that we did up above, but has a nice feel to it. And going back indoors, here's another kitchen. You know, we're always, guys, we're always going to be involved with heavy old world, dark Tuscan designs. And that's part of our heritage here. And it started with Meisner designs, and that's prevalent on Jupiter Island. It's prevalent on Palm Beach Island, but we do a lot of a mix. So there's a very traditional door style, but lightened up with a nice white paint and a fun hood style, and a little bit different, darker, bold color to the island. And that's the photo that's up there right now. Here we're back to contemporary, and we're a materials oriented firm. For every exotic species of wood, we also tend to have a pseudo material or a facsimile. So instead of the more expensive offering here of a high gloss lacquer and a real species of rift cut oak, these are actually textured melamines, which has really revolutionized our industry and interior design as a whole for architectural interiors. They're so much more cost effective, and it's an acrylic door that's pre-made, so we don't have to run it through the finish. Great deal of savings there. So here's your favorite kitchen, Jeff.
You picked our colors here.
There you go. It's we tend not to duplicate too many things, but even in this, we did all the stainless steel work. By the way, those doors up top you see with no handles, those are what's called a servo drive. They're all electronic. You merely touch them with the tip of your finger and they open and close. So there's a little technology that's available to us now in cabinetry and interior fittings and such. You got another one, Rob?
I think that's the last one.
Yeah, that shows a wide variety of the work that we're doing.
Do you see a lot of? Are you working with a lot of these LED lights that go along underneath the cabinets and all that type of stuff? Do you do a lot of work with that or no?
Yeah, very much so. Most every project we have, whether it's a home office or a library, even if it's a traditional design, the lighting industry has changed. So almost everything is LED, and the difficulty is the technology, guys, switches almost quarterly, but they've become much more affordable, much more price and cost effective to do. And we do some pretty standard things with them, but we do some pretty exotic things with them too. guys, we're actually putting lighting inside the cabinets and inside the drawers fairly often now. So when you open up a drawer, all your cutlery and everything is lit. Sounds a little extravagant, but it's one of those things. If you ever had one in your house and you ever opened the drawer, you would want it. It's one of those new advents. Again, it's just more cost effective now through these LED technologies.
I like this one behind me too. I like this kitchen. I don't know, it's just that blue on the.
I like all these kitchens. I want the electronic doors of,
Yes.
It's really, really, really cool stuff.
We're lucky to be involved with a fun set of products and a fun task. It's where, Jeff, you mentioned it earlier about getting to the local area and having the intimate knowledge here. We certainly consider ourselves a resource for firms like you when people ask us, et cetera, and your team. But it's not New York and it's not Chicago, which, by the way, I spent a couple years in one that, by the way.
At Highland Park.
As a pup, long time ago. But it's Jupiter, it's West Palm. So we run into our clients and, we get the kiss on the cheek and we get the thank yous and so forth. And that's nice. But what you really want is, and we tell people all the time, everybody has a budget, almost everybody has a budget, and whether they recognize it or not. And it's hard to fit all of that into that given budget. Everybody's wishes are bigger than what the space or the money available is to do. So we just try and tell everybody, you have to get what you want. And if we're involved with these families for a short period of time, and then we move on, and they don't cheat us when they hold off on one item or two items, and it always looks better than what it looked before. But when we get that kiss on the cheek 6 months or even 6 years later, if we get the comment, well, I love it, but I wish I would have done so-and-so, or I wish we would have done that one item, maybe it was $1,500 or something. It seemed like a lot at the time, but it's so hard to figure out where to stop in these projects. So
I'm sure you get a lot of, is it not too late to do this?
Well, you know what? We've been in doing this in so long. We go back to a lot of our homes, and put fittings and more inserts and things. It's part of being, again, part of the lifetime warranty, part of our keeping in touch with our clients and such. So I wish we did even more, just like you would like more closings and more deals with the clients and families that you've already helped. We would hope for the same, but certainly this is a big step towards that with what you're doing today here.
What is one last question? What was your favorite project? In terms of, it could be a small job or it could be the one where you didn't have a budget, and that was just one of those once in a lifetime where you get something and you can do something just totally wild.
I would answer that with several, but keeping it short, there is a project that was a little more contemporary, but we used an exotic veneer, an anti-gray veneer, and a beautiful home here locally. Old Marsh was the area where we were in, and a very special home in there. And the design required me to buy 3 different trees, which is how you buy in large quantity these veneers. You buy the whole tree, and that's how you match everything up. In this particular instance, we had to buy 3 trees. That's a kind of an odd statement to make to someone. I had to buy 3 trees for the project. It turned out phenomenal. It was a very big challenge. Again, it's a special home. It will always be a special home in this community. And yet the client had very wonderful and specific artwork, and we weren't allowed to photograph it. So it's a memory, but it's a great story. We're finishing one today, again, for a large property. Again, we do work of every size and variety, but it's a very extravagant outdoor living space and worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. And amongst other things, they had me in the early stages of the design. They were telling me about the pizza oven that we had to work in, and it was in the drawing and I could see it, but it wasn't to be a part of my or our work. Long story short, when I went out to the property, the pizza oven weighs 8,000 pounds. And it was kind of overwhelming and pretty large. And evidently they're going to cook some mean pizzas in it.
You better get one when it's done.
Well, I think so. Today's actually should be our day to finish that after a long time. So we get these exciting projects, but the end of it is circling back is where you're able to see where a client gets the enjoyment, and homes, I think, are becoming a bigger part out of all of this of where our heart is and where we're going to congregate. And we've enjoyed being part of that process for sure.
All right. Well, terrific. How can we, somebody wants to get in touch with you? Can you give your address and your contact information?
Absolutely. The showroom's here in Jupiter. Although we go from Vero to Boca and Coral Springs, the showroom's here in Jupiter, right off of alternate A1A and Indiantown Road. And our phone number is 561-746-3827. It's schrappers.com, schrappers.com. We've got a nice web presence as well. And we've got coffee and espresso and cappuccino and all the great things. Anybody can stop by if they want cabinetry, great. If they want a cup of coffee, great. We've got our own barista here, Matt, who can accommodate, and you guys should stop by and take advantage of that.
We will, and we'll have you come in and talk to our sales crew. And so everybody and our team is always aware of what you do as well.
Well, I appreciate it a great deal. Hopefully this serves your potential clientele as well as ours, and certainly just for both of us being a resource within the community. So we appreciate it, and are wishing you and your team all the luck.
Yeah, no, it's a fun conversation.
Very good, guys.
Thank you, Keith. And then again, that's Keith Levine from Schrapper's Fine Cabinetry on Indiantown Road in Jupiter. And Jeff will be back at 3 o'clock. We have a little break today in between. We had a cancellation, but at 3 o'clock today, we have Social Savvy Seniors. We're about to find out what Social Savvy Seniors is. So get ready. At 3 o'clock, we're going to figure that out.
Sounds dangerous, guys.
Well, you were mentioning the lingerie before, so, it's all in the same episode.
So we'll find out. So thanks for joining us, and we'll see you back at 3 o'clock today. Have a good one. Have a good afternoon.
Okay, everybody be good. Be safe.
Thank you.
So long.